So if you have bad content, if you have missing information, if you don't have benefits, you have bad translations to begin with, this Rufus AI agent won't be able to answer the questions, and then it will take the answers from elsewhere, not necessarily being good answers, and you would not be able to control that because what you can control is your content and your listing.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Beyond PPC, this time with Sellerplex, and this time with a recurring guest who hasn't been on the show since 2022, looking at my records, Jana Krekic, who is the founder and CEO of YLT Translations, the largest Amazon-centric localization firm in the Amazon world today. She's got a team of native speakers, and they're all trained to do Amazon translation and contextualization work. And her company is assisting Amazon businesses looking to localize their content in order to convert and engage in the seller's target country or countries. So hello, Jana. It's been a little bit since you've been on the show, but thankfully I've talked to you more recently. How are you? What's going on?
Hybrid. First of all, thank you so much for having me again. This has been long overdue, but here we are, and I'm happy to catch up a little bit with you, see how things are going, and just like talk about the industry and our businesses and basically everything in general.
Yeah, we've got a good amount of things to cover. And before the recording even started here, we were riffing on some different things. But why don't we let it rip here for the audience? So the first one that's definitely on your mind is LLMs, AI, agentic search. How has YLT changed since we last spoke? Where does AI fit into the business and the workflow now? Where is the line that you guys draw for, let's call it, human oversight?
I've been waiting for AI to get better and better and better so we can actually incorporate it in what we do, which means in creating content for other markets in other countries. But AI still isn't good enough for you to just kind of like go to AI, create the prompt. Even if you do an amazingly good job with the prompt, it's not going to have a good outcome because a lot of times it will cut off certain things. It would write a summary instead of translating the whole paragraph because you told them to sound native and localize it and natural. And so you just kind of, AI is lost in all of these instructions. So the outcome sounds good. So if you read it in French or in German, like it would sound great, but it would probably not have a lot to do with the previous text, like the source text you feed it into him. I gave it like a male gender. Give him like a source. It's not going to be as consistent. It's not going to follow all the guidelines. Like the one thing I've also realized, if you upload, let's say 5 images and you're like, can you translate these images for me from 1 to 5, 1 being the image is named image 1, start from it. It does 1, 2, 5, 4, 3. And I'm like, why did you do that when I told you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? And then it was like, yes, you're right. I did make a mistake. Just do it again. And then
Isn't it funny when it admits it's wrong? It's
exactly.
like, I'm so sorry.
I know. And there was like this funny Instagram meme where the guy searches for like edible mushrooms and he asked ChatGPT like, is this an edible mushroom? And then ChatGPT says like, yes, totally, you can eat it safely. And the next image is like this guy's at a hospital, literally on his like death row, and he says like, this mushroom was not edible. And then ChatGPT says, you're totally right, I was wrong. Would you like to know more about non-edible mushrooms? So this is exactly how this is. So it's not perfect and it's very time consuming. So we've been trying to kind of incorporate it somehow, but it's been very time consuming, and the amount of time and effort you put into correcting this text to reflect what the brand actually wants was a deal breaker for us. So we use it for, templates creation, for some images and stuff like that, but we don't use it in actual content translation because we've realized it's not consistent. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse, and it takes a lot of time for you to fix it, double check it, and I mean, it's not cost effective for us, definitely, because nobody would check that just, for nothing, literally. Just,
right, because the hours you would put into remedying the issues that it creates, it's kind of like it creates a pile of spaghetti and then you have to spend time like untangling all the different strands to make it
And
work
translators
properly.
and proofreaders, they're not gonna work on that for a cheap rate, and a lot of them would not even work on a text like that ever, because they're like, it's just, I'm like, it's very time consuming and it's frustrating. For now, like, I'm still waiting for better updates and versions, because I would love to, make our job easier, just, kind of incorporate AI with human touch, which I think AI will, for a long time now, will definitely need human touch and human editing. I know a lot of, I've been part of like bunch of groups and masterminds, and like, and every day there's something new, and there's like a new update, and then now it's not the nano banana, it's something else, and they're like, wow, the image creation is incredible, and then you're like, yes, it is, but then like you create 4 images, and then the fifth one has a blowout, or like the fifth one it's not consistent with the previous 4 images. You need a designer to kind of iron it out, and it's not exactly how you want it to be. So from what I've seen, there is not that, like, there's no consistency in, like, when you do a very big project, there will be a lot of inconsistencies that you will still have to hire your designer, copywriter, translator to work on it. And a lot of people sell it, like, oh, this is going to change your branding, this, that. No, it won't. It will make it easier, and it will maybe help you with an idea, but you will still need someone who is human to fix it and, kind of make it a little bit better. And overall, I think AI, you cannot rely on AI when it comes to creativity. Nothing beats human creativity, because AI relies on the known facts and the known images and brands. It will not come up with something nobody has ever heard of, or something that it was completely, like, out of the blue idea, that eureka type of. Humans still have an edge when it comes to that, because AI cannot match that.
Like true novel creation of something.
Exactly, yes. Like a creation for something from scratch that has never been seen or heard before. But, like, I just think, and it makes me sad, because I think in future what we are going to see is that quality is going to go down to being very, very mediocre, because people will be more and more satisfied with just getting things done, sacrificing the quality level versus, how much time you will need to produce something. So I think in future we'll be flooded by content and images and all of that will be just mediocre,
in the name of basically speed, convenience, and cost. And you alluded to this in a conversation we had, not too long ago, with some of the people you've worked with over the years, who you've come back to and checked in on, and they basically said, like, yeah, we're doing more AI with our translation, contextualization work. And if you and your team look at it, like, it's not to the standard that you guys would have. Like, certainly not. It's better than Google Translate, but it's not as good as you. Like, it's somewhere in between, is what it sounded like. This kind of like gray area.
And as I said, like, sometimes it will be better, and other times will be worse. But if you don't have anyone to check that, you don't actually know if it's good or if it's not good. And a lot of, like, some of, like, as I said, like, from 100% of those follow-ups we've been sending to some brands that we haven't worked with in years, about 30% came back and they said, we've been using AI now. We know it's like 60%, of what it could have been 100, and it's still not great, but it works for us, and, we're doing it. So these sellers, they also know it's not that good, and it doesn't convert to sales like human translations would, when someone's an expert in optimization in German, but they're happy just because it's cost effective, And I think this will definitely be a problem in future, and especially when it comes to Rufus, that is now going to be integrated in all pores of, like, the Amazon ecosystem. And one of the very important things with Rufus is that this is like a Rufus agent now, is kind of big news. And when there's bad content in your listing, when you are lacking information, Rufus AI will not be able to take that and serve it to the possible buyer that is chatting to him at that point. And I'm doing a LinkedIn post later today about this. There's an example of an office chair. It's a German listing. It's decent. It has a lot of keywords, but the bullets are completely missing the point in showing us the benefits of this product. So there's like a lot of focus on the features and no focus on the benefits, which is now a game changer in, like, how you should create your listings. So you create like a user experience, not just like features of the product and, like it's this or that. And then I went to Rufus AI and I was like, so how long will it take for me to put together this chair, like to assemble it? And Rufus was like, well, I mean, the users say it takes from 20 to 40 minutes. Because there was no information about it in Bullets A plus nowhere in this content. And this is pretty risky for you as a brand, because what if like one user says 10 minutes, other user says 50 minutes? It's very inconsistent, and then whatever Rufus gets from those user reviews could be either good or bad for your product. So for instance, like this product had no information about putting this together. And also like there was an image saying that it is synthetic leather, and then both Bullets said it was actual leather. It's very inconsistent.
Huge difference. Yeah, that's a huge difference.
Yeah.
Especially for someone that is like, I don't know, maybe they're like vegan. They're like, I don't want a real
maybe like, it's against my beliefs or whatever, And also like the Bullets never talked about, for instance, like, is it comfortable to sit in this chair as having a home 9 to 5 office? Is it good for your posture? Will it make your back hurt? Like whatever. Like, it doesn't actually talk from the aspect of benefits and solving a problem. Because, especially like when you talk to like Germans, they love to see like, the problem, the solution, the benefits. It should be more kind of like actionable into like, like saying why this product is better than others, or why should you buy this product, or is this product for you? So if you have bad content, if you have missing information, if you don't have benefits, you have bad translations to begin with, this Rufus AI agent won't be able to answer the questions, and then it will take the answers from elsewhere, not necessarily being good answers, and you would not be able to control that, because what you can control is your content and your listing. So, like if you have like good content that really talks to the audience, that will be good. And I see this as a very, very big problem, because a lot of listings are not Rufus optimized or optimized, so they talk about the benefits of the products, but only about features. Usually people just like leave the benefits and stuff, maybe like 2 bullets and that's it. Rest of it they talk about something else. But this is like exactly what I was looking for, an example, like not mentioning anything, not mentioning if it's, like if the tools are included to assemble the chair. Like the tools, you can see them in product details, but who's going to scroll down to product,
Yeah, that's a really good point. Along with assembly time, it's like very practical questions that most people, it doesn't matter if they're German or British or whatever, would have, but aren't included.
Yeah, so this is really important, and I think people should start thinking this way, because also like on last Amazon event Unboxed a couple of weeks ago in Nashville, they were pretty like, Amazon is going all in on AI, and then if you're not optimized for it, then you're gonna be in trouble, and you need to optimize by using some good content, whether if it's copywriting or translations or good images that also explain the lifestyle images, explain how they solve some problems. Then it's gonna be very hard for you to just sell the product, as it's not as easy as it was like high relevant search volume with high relevant keyword with high search volume. Things don't work like that anymore.
That's the old days. Yeah, we're not doing that anymore.
Now, when you think of it, it's like it's ridiculously easy. When you think of that versus now, it's much more sophisticated.
And Jana, actually, a question for you then. So, we both follow the Unbox announcements like very closely, right? This was just last week. I was watching part of the live stream. Actually, I was mostly focused on the ad side, but you being someone who's always clued into the content side and really following that. I've only ever used Rufus in English and in French, the 2 languages that I live and shop in my life. I have never used it in Italian or German, for example, or certainly not like an Asian language like, Japanese Amazon. So, you and your team, you have exposure to and see all this stuff. Do you notice the, I guess, complexity or capabilities of Rufus being different across different marketplaces? And how, I guess we've already covered kind of how important you think this is, but my sense is that Rufus is really, it will go and pull data from other sources if it can't find it on Amazon. It'll be like, okay, well, I don't know much about your product from this, but I have to give this person who's chatting with me an answer. So I'm going to go search the open web. I'm going to look at other content. I'm going to look at back end stuff, because, it pulls a lot of information from your catalog. But I guess my question more to focus it here is really international Rufus, because I've only really talked to it in 2 languages.
Well, from our experience, let's say German, because it's the biggest marketplace, and this is what we test the most. German Amazon's like Rufus is not as sophisticated as the one in the US. Also, it says Rufus Beta, so I guess they're like they're rolling out new features, maybe like saying like no, this is not gonna work. Try this one. So when you are like in Rufus, like the chat window, you only get information you have on Amazon. It doesn't pull data from other like third parties like it would like from the US. It would not recommend a product that is published in Forbes just like because like here it is like and there's like a link to it because I know the US Rufus would do that, but the German one, for instance, it won't. It's very limited to Amazon only. When you talk about it, you get all the information you get from Amazon. It doesn't have to be in your listing, but it will pull data from the reviews or this or that, like, but it will stay within Amazon. It would not have a link that is like to an external party website saying this is what they say about your product. It will come directly from Amazon reviews. So as everything, the European markets and all the other markets are way behind the US features and options and all of that, which is not always bad because for years we've been able to still keep caps lock at the beginning of bullets in Europe, not get and not get analyzed.
Emojis too.
Yeah, emojis too. I mean, for a long time, also, like the HTML description was always kept in the back
Oh my
for a
gosh,
long
yeah.
time. And none of these changes, like it took forever. I mean, you can still have caps lock in bullets.
You heard it here first,
Totally.
folks.
Yes, totally. And you're not going to get penalized for that or suspended
That's
or anything
crazy.
like that.
Yeah, I've definitely seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm glad you mentioned like the third party websites because the Amazon industry in general really does not know a lot about SEO in general, how it works and how Google works. A lot of people have never even done Google ads before doing Amazon ads. It's not different, but it's more complex. I would say Amazon ads are more simple than Google ads, and once you master Google ads, you can master everything. But this is also how, like, for the third party and the external things, like this is exactly how Google works on SEO. Like if you want to be ranked and recognized by Google as an expert in the field, you need to work on your profile because Google connects dots from different external websites. And this is called topical clusters. Like if you want to show yourself as a pharmacist that it's expert in pet care, let's say dog supplements, and you have a brand, then you have to make sure that all of these podcasts you show up, articles, press releases, media, everywhere where Google can connect the dots that it's you have to stick to that one topic. But if you go to a podcast talking about skincare and then you sell animal supplements, then Google will be confused and be like, well, what's it gonna be? You have to stick to one topic and like really try to kind of spread yourself to all these different channels, all these external websites, media, everywhere, get those backends so that you feed that into Google so it can create a picture of who you are. And the stronger the topical clusters you have, the stronger ranking you will have on Google, and you will even have like the little knowledge panel.
Right,
this
the
is
knowledge box on the right side
exactly.
that comes up.
Exactly. And then if you have this knowledge panel, it means that you fed enough information to Google to understand who you are. But a lot of people don't know really how it's done. Like, like if you have a page, let's say like brandssurrounding.com, and then what is really important about that page is about me page, where you're going to write when you were born, what's your business, what's your expertise, a couple of external links to your maybe speaking gigs and stuff like that. And that will help Google understand who you are. And this is also like when you have a website for your business, you have to have a dedicated page like about us that doesn't say about like when I was a young girl, I've always imagined da 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 da. No, like this is not important for Google. It's okay for storytelling, but you need to have certain information that is relevant for Google. And this is when they think this is, an important thing. So I'm really happy that Amazon is now turning more to the large language model, which means that it was going to get like a larger image of who you are, taking from third parties. And basically like now, even if you have a really, like if you answer a question on LinkedIn that a lot of people have been asking, you can check that. Let's say if you go to Gemini or the webpage, like if you go to Google, if you ask a question, let's say how to make money online, for instance, and if you write a LinkedIn article with the exact same title, and it's a good article and you get good engagement, when you type in your name, that LinkedIn article is going to come up on Google. And because Google will be like, oh, this is a certain link, it's really important, but they connect the dot. It's like, oh, this is the guy on LinkedIn, very relevant. Go read other things from him. So this is like, you kind of combine all these different things.
It's your persona, but scattered across different
same for your
resources.
company, same for your product. And this is what Amazon has also been doing. So, like if you
Okay, that's my next question. Yeah. So does that mean that like Rufus is incorporating this same kind of topical cluster in like, a concept? I've never heard anyone talk about Rufus like this before. So this is really cool.
It's really interesting because like as I said, like a lot of people don't have the knowledge on SEO on Google to understand that Google exactly works the same way. This is not something that is groundbreaking. Like Google has been working like that since forever. This is why you need to have.
They've blazed the path in a lot of ways.
It's like 20. This is like this is something which you're like, it's like 20 years ago type of knowledge. Like you connect the dots, you have backlinks, you have this and that. You integrate your website into a bunch of other affiliate websites. I mean, it's all like you create this network. So this is exactly what Amazon would want you to do to be relevant in all of these other external sources, because sometimes, like if you type in like a product name on Rufus for the US market, then like something similar will be shown from external websites saying, hey, this is like great product as seen here, and it will pull the data from an external website. And this is super important, and this is groundbreaking for Amazon because we haven't had this so far. So this is something new, and I think they will be doing this more and more because this is how Google works, and we all know what Google is and what they made. So I think that Amazon is becoming a very, very serious search engine and a very, very serious LLM, and we're going to see a lot in the future from Amazon, definitely.
Good prediction. You heard it here first. So yeah, it reminds me of another thing, Jana, I've seen, which is Amazon's real resistance to allow anyone else into their walled garden of agentic shopping. Like you saw recently, they were pursuing some sort of legal action. Maybe they were even suing Perplexity and saying like, no, we don't want your stuff to scrape our network, and like we're building our own stuff, which is a very kind of Amazonian way to do it. They're always in-housing and building their own stuff. Like they're going to make their own thing, and they're big enough that they can kind of do that, right? And just kind of say, hey, we're just going to forge ahead with this. And, maybe 5 years from now, it won't be the case, and maybe it won't work out. But I don't know. It's kind of hard to bet against Amazon sometimes, especially because we've seen them do stuff like this time and time again over the years, where they turn some kind of new technology into a new profit center. They build a platform around it. Other people get to use it, and then they make money off of that. It is exciting.
I think the latest announcements were pretty remarkable with how far they're going to go and the changes that they're going to do. And honestly, like from that Unboxed event, like one of my biggest takes is like that they're finally making sponsored product videos, which I think it's great. Like we've only had like brand videos so far, and then they're doing the brand collection, which is great because you were now going to be able to showcase more than one product, which is great. And I mean, these features should have been available for a long time, but this is the sponsored product video is something I like. But also talking about Rufus AI, what really I think it's I kind of was thinking about this for the last couple of days, is sponsored prompts, because they're completely taking over the control of what where you're gonna serve to the buyer, and of course you would have to pay for it, but I mean they're even giving it into the prompts, not only like ads and advertising this, but also sponsored prompts, it's all like content, like this is advertising and it's like ads and display ads and videos and this and that, but this is like the first time this is about actual content, which is not keywords, but actual content that will be sold as like a sponsored prompt that you can like literally tell your client whatever you want them to hear. You just need to kind of really know the product very well, know all the Q&As very well. But then also what really comes to my mind is like now, because Amazon is going to spread like outside of Amazon to get like all the info, I think it's great to also like what you can do as a brand is like you can scrape Reddit, like you just type in a question and then get all these like 500 comments. Then you feed it into, let's say, ChatGPT and say like, what are the most common questions that people ask outside of Amazon? Because like on Reddit, there's like if it's not asked in Reddit, hasn't been asked, actually, really, So you can you get a whole all of that, and then you feed it completely into it, then you just kind of figure out which prompts you want to feed to the buyer, because
Right. It
sometimes
does raise some questions about
Yeah.
data access too, like if you're allowed to scrape it from Reddit and how you're allowed to aggregate it and what kind of
I mean,
I guess
there are
agreement
ways. There are ways
Amazon
to scrape
has.
it from Reddit.
Oh, I'm sure there are, but I mean, does Amazon have a high level partnership with Reddit? Like as between the two big
No,
companies.
but I mean, what you can do is like you can just scrape it for yourself from Reddit and just kind of let's say upload it in ChatGPT and just come up with a list of questions that are summarized from the Reddit thread. That this has nothing to do with a collab between Amazon and Reddit. You do it yourself. It's like literally like a 3-minute job, maybe 2-minute job.
Yeah, this is something I've seen people been doing since there was a feature from Helium 10 removed, which did the review scraping and aggregation.
Yes.
I'm sure this has been on your radar, right? So people have been creating their own like micro agents that do this, and something I've been kind of like clued into just recently and learned a bit more about. So that's kind of a similar comparison, right? Because reviews are such a gold mine still.
Yeah. But I'm saying that Reddit is outside of Amazon. You want to go to a Reddit Quora, so and so, but Reddit has all the good stuff. So if you're gonna always like wondering like what else is there about my product that I can feed into, let's say Rufus or like an AI ads agent, this is the place to go and get ideas. And especially if it could be pulled from Reddit to Amazon, like that's like a really it saves a lot of time. For sure.
Let's back away from AI for a second, because there's a lot to say about AI. We could probably do the entire hour discussion just on AI, but going back to YLT, I mean, you guys, I really think of you as like text-based, image-based, but do you guys do more and more stuff with video? We just talked about video coming to sponsored products, right? And video seems to be something that is more and more focused on with Amazon in general. I mean, for sponsored brands, it's been years we pushed that. I do a lot of DSP stuff now, and like video is a big part of DSP at the high and mid funnel. But do you guys do video content? And to take it one step further, this is a really crazy one. Do you optimize or look at things for voice search or voice interactions or even augmented reality, which I think was never as popular as we thought it would be, but just a couple ideas.
Exactly. Well, honestly, we've never done anything to optimize the voice search. Nobody has ever asked that from us. I know there were a couple of articles I really wanted to read about the voice search, but then I just kind of lost interest, I know people search for things voice, but I don't know, I just think the voice search mostly comes down to like, Alexa, play this song. Like not like, hey, I'm wondering if I can get like a pair of socks from Adidas and like this and that. Like, I don't think that people use it that much. Maybe this is going to be used more in future, but like that feature kind of it reminds me of, remember like COVID times when there was what's the name of the app? It was called Chat. Remember that voice chat app?
Oh, it was the one where you would join. See, it's so funny that both you and I have used it, and we've both forgotten the name. But it was that app that was really, really hot for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
And everyone was on it. Clubhouse.
Clubhouse. Oh my God. Yeah.
I know it would come to me.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. Thank you.
That was crazy.
Clubhouse.
That was like the voice revolution. Everyone was like, it's going to replace Twitter. No one's going to use anything anymore. And then.
But I was like, from the beginning of that app, I was just like, nobody's going to use it as soon as we're out from our homes out in the wild. Nobody's going to use it because it's like you need to talk, then you're like your tone of voice and like whoever says something and you're embarrassed to speak and You had a lot of negatives about this app. And I just think that like the voice search and all of that will, for instance, a lot of people will never buy and purchase just based off their like voice search. I think people could find information on Google or AI or play songs, but I don't think that they will like, yeah, let me put in wording what I'm looking for, and then I'll see what they come up with, like the searches. Like, I just don't.
It has to do with trust, I think. Like, because you talk to your Alexa and you're like, well, I can't physically see it on the screen. So, like, I don't know what 7 things it's really showing me. I mean, I know people that are super techies that like to do that.
Maybe I should have asked differently. And then you're like, okay, let me remember what I previously said. While as when you text, you can see what you said, like, oh, okay, let me edit it a little bit. But this is like, okay, here we go again. Hey Alexa, what did I say? Oh no, no, not that. You know, it's too complicated. It's too complicated, and I don't think it will ever become as popular or the most popular. Far from that.
Okay, fair enough. So voice search, we're giving that a thumbs down for now. I will say, I think it's also like a habit. There's so many things that we do as just humans day to day that if you don't build a habit for something, you'll never become habituated to doing it frequently.
No, because the clubhouse was not a habit. It was something that we had to do because we didn't have another choice. We were forced into having voice chats
Yeah.
on this
It was also
app.
kind of a fad that we all kind of enjoyed for
For a
couple
while,
of,
it was fun,
yeah.
but it was not. And after that, the app was like we couldn't even remember the name of a
No.
revolutionary app. You know, I
It's
mean,
pretty funny because like you and I, it took both of us to remember the name, and it took like a minute. But
yeah,
yeah, we both, yeah,
for something that was so like groundbreaking and so
at the time.
overly popular. It's like not knowing like I can't remember the name of something that is like Snapchat, you know, like it's crazy.
Okay, let me ask you another question then about brands you work with. I mean, we're here. We've talked a lot about like off Amazon. I mean, you guys really Amazon is the core of your business still, right? But we've talked a lot about off Amazon. Do you get questions from brands and advise them about other cultural aspects off Amazon? Like one that really comes to mind that is such a deal breaker or like a winner is checkout flow and payment methods, things like this. Like I know in the Balkans, like cash on delivery is still pretty common, right? A lot of people pay cash on delivery, which in the US is like unheard of. No one even knows what that is.
No, no,
But
no.
like
What is
yeah, just like
cash? What is
what is cash?
yeah,
What is cash even?
yeah,
Yeah, but
exactly, exactly.
this concept is also actually in Asia they do cash on delivery too in some countries. I've seen
Yeah.
it. But like, what are these potential hangups that brands might ask you about sometimes? They say, "Okay, you helped us with Amazon, but like what else is there?" Payment gateways, cash on delivery, currency concerns too. Like, "Oh, do we pay in euros? Do we doing this?" What else is going on there?
So yeah, that's a really good question, and I'm really glad you asked that because this is what I would bring up as a topic for certain brands, being like, I'm sure you don't know this, but you should try this. For instance, like there's Amazon in Poland, there's Amazon in Sweden, but there are other things there happening as well. But for instance, like Amazon Poland is such a great market, e-commerce market. It's like you have Amazon, but they also have their own e-commerce culture. They have like 12,000 online website.
They have Allegro, right?
Yeah, yeah,
The
they have
Polish, yeah.
Allegro, which is like top 10 marketplaces in the world, right after Tmall and Shopee and all these Asian insane marketplaces. So there is like a certain culture, but you would be surprised that like COD, like cash on delivery, is huge in Poland. They don't use credit cards much. Yes, they do have Amazon. You do have to pay with a card, but all the other businesses that are thriving, Shopify websites, Shopify stores, a lot of them would use COD, which is crazy, and you would never think of that. And then they're like, well, how do I do that? It's terrifying. You're like, what do you mean? Like, yeah, you deliver and you give me cash. So let's say Romania as well, very big on COD. Romania is a very, very like e-commerce savvy country, and there are so many insanely big Amazon sellers in Romania, for instance.
Shout out to all Romanian friends.
Shout out
many
to
of them.
Romanian friends,
Yeah,
yes.
for sure.
Mulțumesc for big Amazon sellers. But like there's a very big market for COD, and people don't know how it works. So, like the checkout process is just like, like you make your order, you leave your address and your phone number, and then you're done. And then you get an information like when it's going to be delivered, you get your cash ready, you have the shipping fee. Then you have different carriers, like you have like different couriers, that will deliver the product. And so a lot of them would be like, well, they deliver Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday afternoon, but Wednesday, Thursday, Friday in the morning. So there's like a lot of different things you need to kind of work with this. But also a lot of people don't know like that, some of the countries that are in the EU, like the European Union, they do not have euro as a currency, but they all have their national currency, which could be a problem because of the conversion rate. And, and then you will have to open a bank account, they will have the local bank account. So, there's like a lot of bottlenecks, I would say, like to build a business. But a good thing about, let's say, Poland, Czech Republic, Romania, is that they do not have a lot of different things. Like they don't have a lot of different categories that are available on Amazon, and some of your products might do well because people are not used to having that product over there. But when you expand there, I would always say do COD number one, and then credit cards and all of that number two. But there is a completely different climate than you're used to on Amazon, especially because you need to have your own warehouse and this and that. But it's all easier now because it's all part of the EU, so you don't have any custom fees and stuff like that. So that is, to say, like one easy thing. And this is, I always advise, brands that have expanded, did their, VAT, got their tax numbers, filed their European entities, to try out also selling on Shopify and off Amazon, maybe on one of these marketplaces, because let's say Allegra and all the other marketplaces, they're very simple. Their descriptions are pretty. You get like six. You have a title, then you have like 6 modules, and you're done. Like there's not as sophisticated as Amazon algorithm.
Right. It seems easy after Amazon. Yeah.
Yes, very, very, very easy. You just need good SEO on Google, and you're probably going to beat your competitors because not a lot of them know how to set up a proper content on the website. So it's always interesting to see how well the brand does Shopify versus Amazon. A lot of brands know how to do Shopify, but they fail on Amazon, vice versa, because it's quite different. You tangle a different type of beast, and then the Shopify one, I kind of really like it. But you need to do Google ads, you need to do organic traffic, external traffic. I mean, there's like TikTok ads, like a bunch of other things you can do.
Sure, there's an overwhelming amount of things you can do, but this is the classic business scenario, isn't it? It's like where the difficulty and the risk is where the reward also
it is. But if you decide to sell on Shopify, I mean, I've heard a lot of, like, there was like a announcement, I think it was like maybe last year, how Amazon would not allow the brands on their website to say certain things about products and this and that, how Amazon would control literally like what you're doing on your website, which is scary, like I don't think it has gotten a green light so far. But I think like when you sell on Shopify only, like you are your own boss, and then you decide, you create the rules, and that is a good thing, which comes with a lot of risk and other things that Amazon handles for you. So it's like kind of have like two different worlds. But I always suggest people to also try Shopify. If you already have the structure for it, then I think people should definitely do it, because I've seen a lot of brands make a lot of money. There was a Dutch brand we worked with 2 years ago, and they're making 20 million in Central Europe on Shopify only. So there is a lot of money to be made off Amazon as well. So
so think about all those Amazon fees they're not paying that they're putting into other, like, let's call it promotional methods or infrastructure upkeep, marketing for Shopify. Maybe some of that money's going there.
I think brands should definitely diversify if they can, because I think it would be a rewarding experience. Because if you figured like how to make money on Amazon, I'm sure you can figure out basically anything else. You just need a different approach, which can be easily learned.
Yeah, I like the mindset. So let's continue on that same thread then. Maybe you can quickly tell me this one, but we've talked about a lot of other places besides English speaking markets. But what is the non-English speaking market that you are the most excited about, or alternatively, the one that you and your team get the most inquiries and are doing the most work for right now? Like, I don't know, you just see the last 6 months you've been slammed with requests from X country. What is that country?
So I would say Germany, definitely number one, and as has always been an alpha and omega, like the German.
Okay, got it.
But then the last year and a half, Italy has become a rising star. I think after COVID, people they started changing their shopping habits, and they just kind of continued with that same behavior. So Italy has become very, very profitable on Amazon as a marketplace. So we've been getting lots of requests for Italy, which we would not get before. It would be just like, let's do Germany, France, and this and that, but Italy, we don't care about that. But now people like starting to Italy in that like top four saying like no, let's do it, and people do see in crazy amount of sales and profit they haven't seen before. So that is something that was quite interesting to see. And also we get more and more Japan, honestly, because people come with, like they would sell a product, like a regular product, and then they'll be like, we want to sell in Japan and we're gonna make it pink, or like we're gonna have like the neon colors of this product. Let's do it. Like they just gonna like come like with a twist on their product and be
Special
like
edition.
special edition for Japan only, and they're just gonna want to do it. They want to try it out, which is great. So yeah, outside of US, I would say Germany, and then EU, like France, Spain, and Italy now, and then Japan. This is, I think, how it goes, and then.
Okay, well, Japan's interesting to hear because that's one of the oldest Amazon marketplaces. It's been around since like the beginning. It's like, but still, it's its own kind of weird place though, Japan, which, I know you've been there, I've been there. It's like it's own kind of strange island in more than one sense.
It's a different planet, like, and when you get there, you totally understand why people are the way they are and why certain products work and certain products don't. So it was a really unique, and I've been all over Asia, so have you, but Japan is like just so different.
Yeah, it's like not Asia.
It's not Asia.
Something.
No, it's not Asia.
Yeah.
Not Asia, and it's completely different.
But back to the Italian point, Jana, I wanted to say, like, I know for a fact, looking at the ad spend that we managed during COVID and the years after, Italy had like definitely a step change during COVID. I think it blew up. And then I think your theory is 100% correct. Like people basically just kept doing what they had started doing then. And it was reaching across more generations. So I think people who are kind of like our age and younger really are more e-com savvy generally. But people who are maybe our parents' age or, younger than that even, like started to use e-commerce a lot more in Europe, and Italy in particular really blew up.
100%. And I was in Rome a couple of weeks ago, and they would still use a lot of cash. It's not like they've become Singapore all of a sudden.
No,
like,
no.
22nd century or something like that. And they still use a lot of cash, and you would expect like older senior citizens to just use cash and this and that. But like the e-commerce penetration has definitely changed, and it's gone like literally like this, and it still has a really positive growth, and because people are seeing results, like they have really, and when you think of like expanding internationally, if you have 3 markets that are working and then you get like 4th one that's like really working so well, that means a lot for your profit generally and overall business growth. So I think it's great that Italy's the trajectory that I'm seeing is pretty positive.
We love Italy. I was there in Rome a couple of weeks ago too. I know we spoke about that. 1 or 2 more questions, but this one's kind of a fun one too. You've seen a lot of, let's call it, translation disasters over the years, like absolutely like horrifying things that cost people money, things that make a product look like something it's not, things that are vulgar. I mean, what's the biggest disaster you can recall coming across recently, or someone on your team flagged up when you had someone come in and say, hey, work with us? And you looked at their account and you said, oh my God, what is there anything you can think of, in recent memory?
This was not a client, but it was something that my team was, they came across this. It was an Italian listing, and I love this example, so I'll definitely share this one because I told them like, can you come up with some examples, because I work with my team and then I do my videos on LinkedIn about analysis, just because my team helps me. I don't speak all of the languages.
You do speak a lot of them, though.
I do, but I don't speak Italian. That is unfortunate, but I don't speak Italian. And then they came across this product that was a 2-piece bikini, and there was like this plus size model on the image, and it had really bad reviews. Like they was like 1.5 reviews or something like that. They were like raging about it, like in the reviews, like negatively. And then, because the title said bikini, whatever, the pattern is this, and then it said at the end they had like a dash, and it says donna grosso, which means for fat ladies. So it was not plus size; it was for fat women. That was their product, and I was like, oh my God. And so they were just like furious at how the brand would, I mean, clearly it was a Google Translate, it was like bad content overall, but they were, like accentuating the fat women, and there was like
Really, just hammered it home
just
there.
like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I imagine the women on your team, you shopping, going, "Oh my God." Just
no,
imagine if
it
you
was
came across this
hilarious.
listing.
They were laughing there, like, it was so funny. And I mean, but there are so, like, you don't even have to try hard, because my team they would come up with, like, they would tell me like, oh, we have another one for you, and I'm just like, this is like really easy to find. It's not like they're searching for ages, and they're like, oh, finally after 7 working days we've been able to find a decent example. Like, I have like a folder with like all of these products, and then there was also like it was funny
Like
because
screen caps, like
yeah, yeah,
of
yeah,
images
all
of
of
all
that.
that.
Yes,
Oh, that's
exactly.
amazing. I would love to
And
see
then
that.
there was also like a brown, like the brown, the brand. They have like a shaver, whatever,
Oh
like
yeah, yeah. The German
the
company,
German
right?
company. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So they have the title, and then they kind of put the keywords and this and that. But then one of the keywords was Rasenmäher, which does mean to kind of like like shave something off the surface, or like to remove something off the surface. But the Rasenmäher actually means lawnmower. And this was a hair remover shaver, so it was like the keyword was it's a lawnmower. And I'm like, okay, well, I get it. And semantically it does. Yeah, I can see why. Sure, yeah.
I mean, I think there's a US brand that actually has like a thing that is called like the lawnmower, but they do it like intentionally for fun, like as a branding exercise.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
was not a branding exercise, nor was it a funny social media post. It was actually very serious Amazon product listing, coming from a serious brand. So this was, yeah, but there was like a lot of, there was like there was in the Spanish market, there was a diary that had like like the bullets diary, like that it means that it has those bullets, like bullet journal. But then the translation to Spanish said that it actually contained actual gun bullets inside when you open it.
Okay, that's my favorite. That's
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
favorite one. Yeah.
That's like that. I remember that one.
You have so many of these.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
I
I'm
was like,
trying to
I wonder if she'll
remember.
have one. You have like seven.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, no. It's
Amazing.
because there was like so many. I literally forgot like half of those, but these are some that like stuck with me forever. No, they're just like really, like, and then you would have. I mean, this is not a funny sample example, but like on the German market, they really want, like, when you see a product, they really want like proper grammar. They really want like everything to be just
Right.
like
It's trustworthy, right?
trustworthy, like very not, don't go like like fun and games
No
with it, just
marketing
like no,
fluff
yeah,
too,
yeah,
really.
don't, no fluff, no like emotional manipulation, like don't do these things, not go into salesy mode and all of that.
The
But then
opposite of American listings.
yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, you just need to completely change the style from being a US salesy fluff to being the German non-fluff.
That's where the contextualization comes in instead of just the translation. Right?
Exactly.
So,
I mean, I know, like, if you've ever talked to a German person, you know that there's no small talk. Like there's like sarcasm and no small talk. It's like quite a contrary from, the US people and how they chit chat and all of that and being super friendly. So there was a product example where literally they would say like made in Germany, which is a really like a high certificate of quality. And they were highlighting all of these great, like things about the product. And then the fifth bullet said, our customer service available in German, 365 days. Da, da, da. There was like a whole fifth bullet. And I don't know what happened. The fifth bullet was completely grammatically incorrect. And you're saying that it's like Germans are answering the phones, they are here for you to explain the product, and it's like broken German. But only that fifth bullet, and like that would be a deal breaker for a German buyer, because it'll be like, wait, now I'm not trusting you anymore. Let me go again and reread all these bullets and be like, why is this fifth bullet so wrong? Like, why is it broken German? And like,
especially that particular one, which is trying to assure you.
yeah,
that
assure you that it, rest assured, it's all native German. It's like, no, it's not. It's just broken German, And then
very sus.
yeah, very sus, and people will be like, you know what? Like, maybe I'm not gonna buy something from them, because if their content is so bad, maybe their quality is not as good as that they are promising it's going to be.
Right. It raises a point of suspicion and breaks the kind of trust chain or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
It's also like to go back to that example I used for Rufus, that office chair, having the synthetic leather information that the chair is made of on images, and then having an actual leather information bullets. It's very untrustworthy, and it's contradictory, and then it will cause mistrust with the audience, with the buyers. They'll be like, I don't trust this brand. Let me just like go over to another one. And I mean, God knows you have like 7 tabs open with exactly the same product, so they're not going to choose you. You have to be like really like perfectly aligned with the mentality and with the new audience in the new country. That is really, really important. Those nuances that AI won't give you, this is where it's make it or break it type of thing, like that will make your product sell or not sell.
And with that, Jana, let me ask you one more question. Can you share a story recently for a client that you guys have worked with where, they saw a noticeable increase or improvement before versus after working with you? If anything comes to mind, it can be, Italian market, German market, whatever.
So we had a really cool brand. They're called Framar. They're famous for their colorists. So they do a lot of hair dyes and this and that, and just like a bunch of like, it's a brand that does like hair care, but for professional salons. So they're quite famous and they're quite big, and they came to us with, I think, zero expectations because they've never expanded before. And I think they did some Google Translate listings at some point, and then after that they completely switched to us doing a good job. I remember their head of marketing, they reached out and they had 220% increase on German market. Spanish one was about 100 and something, and Italian was the same for that. And they've been so happy with that. They've been coming back for the last 5 years. Incredible, really. Like the numbers
okay, so they're a long-term client you continually
but
work
they
with. And where are they based originally?
But
Are
they
US based?
US, they're US based.
Okay.
And they just always come back for more, and then whatever they had that was not performing well after we fixed it, we've seen like crazy numbers. And I'm trying to gather more information so we can do a really good case study with them, because they've been with us for a long time, and then whatever they fixed with us that was done by either an incompetent translator or AI or Google Translate, we've given them like incredible results, really, just because we're focusing on benefits, focusing on good keywords, and just most importantly, to make it all sound very natural to a potential buyer that is reading that is actually talking to the customer, not to the customer about the features of the product, but to the customer in terms of like how it will solve the customer's problems.
Without them having any kind of language or contextualization hangups that would cause them to think twice about it. Because like the more natural, basically you want it for them to not notice it, essentially.
Not notice it. They want, like, the buyer wants to feel like they're buying from a local brand, like, that they're buying from a German brand, not like an overseas brand. Because if you don't adjust the style, don't tone down things, or don't do proper keyword research, they will feel like they're buying from something which is like not close to them. It's like, oh, it's like an overseas brand. I don't kind of feel the connection. And then especially when you do like something, when you buy things for, let's say, your baby, or beauty supplements, or something that goes into your body, or like for your pets, something that is it's got a more sort of like intimate product and kind of more feels like your personal item versus like you're buying something for your kitchen. Then
like a bowl
in
for
those
the kitchen
then for those cases you really need to kind of focus on the tone, and to convey the same message that you're conveying to, let's say, the US audience, to convey the same message to Germans but in a German way, and to use different phrasing, but to be exactly the same brand you are, with the local feel, so that they're thinking they're buying from the German brand. Exactly. And it feels good to use the products, and the brand speaks to them, basically.
Okay, well put. So, new thing I'm trying here at the end. Can you give us one tip that you would tell Amazon business owners, e-com owners looking to expand, internationalize their company? What's the one tip you would give them?
In this new age of Amazon, I think that it's really important to focus on the content that highlights benefits of the product versus only features, because this way you are going to create a user experience, and the buyer will understand why this product might be a really good fit for them. So I would say benefits over features, and also because these benefits will also be featured in Rufus AI.
Right. Rufus will pick up on that. It'll understand. It'll mesh it with the reviews, hopefully, that are good, and be able to contextualize that as part of the larger picture.
Yeah, exactly. And these are like real...
I think that's the lesson for today then. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Well, thanks so much, Jana, for coming on. It's been a real pleasure to catch up and hear your perspective on things, see how things are going at YLT. And where can people find you if they want to reach you and follow you online?
Well, if you want to reach out, if you have any questions, if you would like some advice on whether to start Shopify or not, I'm happy to offer some advice on that. You can reach out on LinkedIn. I'm trying to be more and more active on LinkedIn. I had a little break because of I'm a new mom, but now I'm trying to get back in the game. So I love posting on LinkedIn, bunch of updates. If you like this content from today, there's plenty more to come on my LinkedIn profile. And definitely, if you want to reach out via email, you can do that. There's a link to my email below. Or if you have any questions about your listings, we're happy to take a look, do an audit. Recently, we've been doing a lot of audits of the already done AI listings that we're not converting, and we're happy to offer some advice on like how to get back your authenticity tone and how to actually start converting to sales again, because AI can do a lot of damage.
Good point. So AI reversion back to good after AI has come in
Exactly.
and hurt some things. Yeah, that's a very valuable point.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll put all your information in the description for sure. And thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.